Chef Alex Askew, and welcome to BCA Global's Stirring the Pot, conversations around food, race, and social justice in 10 minutes or less. Today, we have another special guest, Chef Kabui, and I'm going to let him give you his personal mission statement, but I'm going to give you some background because it's really exciting to have Chef Kabui on this episode. I learn something every time I talk to him, every single conversation, and I'm sure you will as well. Chef Kabui is an organic chef, anthropologist, food blogger, and activist, and he was born in a farming family in Kenya. His father ran a restaurant in the city, and Chef Kabui split his time between his father's restaurant and the village farm. But those same experiences influence his ideas today about food and sustainability. Chef Kabui also studied political science and philosophy for undergraduate before acquiring a dual master in medical anthropology and urban anthropology. He later went on to culinary school in North Carolina, where he currently resides, and he speaks widely at colleges, universities, nationally, internationally, and now he's paying back these valuable lessons that his village bestowed upon him by creating the first food literacy and sustainability center in Kenya. He's appeared in all types of media, NPR, TV, numerous podcasts. Welcome, Chef Kabui. It's an honor to have you on Stirring the Pot, because I know you can definitely stir the pot for our audience today. And yes, I mean, please give us, your personal mission statement or sentence and how that correlates with your work. I'm sure our audience is intrigued and really wants to find out who you are and, what is your framework.
Thank you so very much, my brother and colleague, Chef, Brother Askew, for the great work you're doing and for giving me an opportunity to share a few of my thoughts with our audience. My name is Kabui again. My personal statement or mission statement is that I work to promote food literacy in order to help our consumers understand the veracity of food relative to food justice. Food justice is the one struggle for justice that has no race on it. Sometimes we used to say Black power, but then you realize that even within Black power, you have to address issues of justice even within ourselves. So the way we eat, we do promote or defer food justice in our actions. So food literacy is my number one mission.
Oh, that's great. So here's the hot topic. We always have this discussion. It's a hot topic now, and it's something that really needs to be at the forefront of us bringing in people together, and especially people of color. Why food, race, and social justice now?
Yes. How food and okay, very good question. About boxing in New York, Mike Tyson and all these other great folks, are associated with New York. And, in boxing, you have different weights, you have all different levels. You have lightweight, you have featherweight, bantamweight, welterweight, then heavyweight. You can't take people in welterweight or lightweight and put them in heavyweight and think you have a match. What you have there, you have a suicide. Suicide is about or genocide, some form of a ring genocide that's about to happen on the ring. When the food system is so convoluted, such that some people have so much power and other people have almost zero power, they have zero power, then you cannot talk about food without talking about equity. You cannot. You be dreaming. You be fooling yourself. You be making a fool of yourself. You be demonstrating your ignorance when you think that you can have justice when some people have so much control and their sustenance is dependent on other people's mercy or kindness or good feeling. So if you want to talk about having a just world, if you want to just talk about having a world, period, then we have to talk about the most basic thing that you need in order to live, which is food, if you're going to have that kind of world or any kind of decent world. So talking about food justice is not just about kindness, but about dealing with the issue of extinction. We have had 5 previous massive extinctions, and I will not be surprised if the next form of extinctions happens will be about food, or the potential. There is that potentiality that extinction can happen when food becomes so controlled by so many people. And I'll finish by saying that when you have some people who are, for example, I give an example of a company like Amazon that made $3 billion during 3-month period during COVID. That's the equivalent of how much the country of my birth uses in a year. The government has a budget of 300 billion or 30 billion annually to pay all its 500,000 employees and run all the other projects. Okay, so think about it. So if several people like that, like a handful of them, Facebook, Google, Elon Musk company, and Amazon, if those companies or those guys can get together and say, you know what, we don't care, man. We're gonna make all the money we have because we have enough money to pay for SpaceX, for seats in SpaceX to go to space. So they can decide, okay, screw the world. We don't care. We can pollute the Amazon. We can pollute the desert, the Sahara Desert. We can pollute Africa. We don't care. Why? Because we have somewhere else to go. So having people who are so powerful is not in our interest and is not in their own interest. That's why food justice is so critical and so important today for anybody who is interested in having children, having a good life, or just being human or interested in humanity, period.
Wow, you're speaking righteousness right now. That's right, and yeah, it is all about weight class. It is all about class, yes. Right? Because we all have this in every, it seems like in every social cultural environment there is that that disparity, yes. Right, between yes. Between the haves and the have-nots, and that is something that really creates an unjust community. And marginalized communities as well. I mean, marginalized meaning that they are away from accessing education, literacy, and food is at the core construct of that. Before we kind of finish up this part and invite you to part 2 of this series, I want to just want you to give an overview of what you have established in Kenya with your, food, literacy and sustainability center.
Yes, number one, thank you for being one of my supporters of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, yeah, I really appreciate that. Take a small step back and say, look at where I started as a human being. I started in a small village with my mother, living amongst people who spoke the same language, they had the same customs. I doubt anybody had any wealth that was more than 50 times or 40 times more, or even 10 times more than the other person, in terms of the size of land, acreage that they have and all that stuff. But now here I am, I was able to go to the city. I was able to come to the US and study at some prestigious universities and colleges. So what's my responsibility? I can go and have a good time, but I decided to go and give back, and as a sign of duty, because I have come to recognize that we cannot continue to live this way. So charity begins at home. So I decided to open a center that would promote those ideas of food literacy, because people now who are previously indigenous or indigenous people are becoming just as illiterate about food as Westerners are coming. And the standard American diet, SAD, which is sad, is gaining foothold at an amazing rate. And more people now are more confused about their own diet and are suffering from lifestyle illnesses than ever before. That's number one. Number two, I also recognize because of research that I have access to, living in the West and having that privilege, very, very big privilege, that I can be able to know things that are happening firsthand because of technology. Then I know that there's a big struggle for these corporations that a lot of us put our money in, hoping to get a return. That return is coming at the expense of people's health and public health in other countries such as Kenya. So I'll give you a quick example by a company that's producing seeds in Israel. That company sells 2 pounds of tomatoes, hybrid tomatoes, for $60,000. $60,000. Yes, it's more expensive than Bitcoin, more expensive than gold. 2 pounds of seeds. They have some that are costing as much over $100,000 for certain seeds. Yes. So if some people, my family think I'm crazy when I'm dealing with small time stuff. Come on, you got a master's degree and all that stuff. Why don't you do important stuff? Until I told them that story, that seeds are becoming so expensive that people will not be able to eat in the future, not because they don't have any money, they don't have any water, because they don't have any land, because they don't have any, because of climate change. They're not going to be able to eat because they cannot buy seeds because they're so, I know you know a lot of deep pocket people, Chef, but I don't know how many people you know can afford $60,000 or $100,000 for up 2 pounds of seeds. I mean, what people are lying that the next millionaires are going to and billionaires are going to be farmers. I can tell them, go and think again. That's a lie, and I can tell them straight to their face, because farmers have become people who have always been at the mercy of the capitalists or the government officials and corrupt individuals. So farmers are always screwed up in the end. So it's because of that reason that I open up the Food Sustainability Center, so we can save seeds, we can teach our young people to learn, we can work with youth to use technology to create content, because the farm of the past after COVID, farming will never be the same again. You're not going to make money just producing just milk. You know, farmers in milk farmers in New York are selling milk below cost. So how can you survive that? So anyways, that's what I set up the center for, and it's also an exchange to share what I've learned in the American South and other parts of the U.S. With the people who raised me and gave me the stability of the mind and the foresight to always think about other people as part of thinking about myself.
Wow, that's incredible. And that whole seed lesson, you know, maybe we should go into business and think about starting our own business that, you know, I know you're doing on a smaller scale, but maybe there is an investing strategy for that as well. We're talking $60,000 for 2 pounds. Well, listen, Chef, we're going to wrap this part 1 episode, and I want to invite you to part 2. Will you come back?
Oh, in a mighty way.
Okay, so just a teaser, everyone. Chef Kabui is going to paint a picture of where he is, what it smells like, what it looks like, some of the challenges, and really paint a very vibrant canvas of where his whole framework of his work is. And that's probably going to be more than one place, but he's going to paint that picture. You come back and see us at part 2, Stirring the Pot, BCA Global, conversations around food, race, and social justice. See you for our next episode. Take care for now.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right. Hi, I'm Chef Alex Askew, and I want to welcome everyone back to part 2 series, Stirring the Pot, BCA Global's conversation on food, race, and social justice. Our special guest today is Chef Kabui, native of Kenya and food culinary activist. And I'm going to let Chef Kabui paint the canvas for everyone to kind of experience where he's at on a local level, what it looks like, what it smells like, what it feels like, the challenges with any racial equity issues, racism, what the people are like. Chef Kabui, can you paint that picture for our audience? where you are and what it looks like, feels like, smells like, in fact?
Well, it smells like a period of reset, so, yeah, a period of reset. It also smells like a new, fantastic dinner that I don't know what will be served, but I'm very, very hopeful and very, very energized to partake in. As we mentioned, the world of the past is gone. It's not coming back. And I'm reminded about a period of world history going back to the early 1900s. 1900s was a very interesting time. The Soviet Union was about to fall, because there was a revolution that was coming out there. Japan was rising and all that kind of stuff. And right around there, Japan came to power and became a powerful country. When it became a powerful country, it didn't take about 35 years for it to go right back down because of the world Second European War. And during that time, we had something called, that is now become popular, called kamikaze or divine wind. So we are in a time that a wind is coming. What wind that will be, very few people can tell. What we do know, what I do feel though, is that this wind is a wind that is touching each and every one of us. The kamikaze wind only touched the Japanese. It touched the Japanese, and we had two kinds of winds. We had the divine wind of the kamikaze, but that wind was overpowered by another wind, which we don't know. It depends on who you ask. Might call it divine wind as well. For some, it was another devilish wind, because it was called the atomic bomb. The atomic bomb came and it destroyed, totally annihilated the kamikaze or the divine wind. So here we are now. We have a wind that's coming. Which wind? We will determine. We have the power to determine what kind of wind we'll have more than any other time in the world history. We have more information and all the power to get information to as far places that nobody would have thought about. In Japan, we had to wait for the news to come to us. It could be manipulated, and whatever the government put on the American television, that's what we believed. If they lied, we believed it. Now we have very, very, very easy way of getting the information. So we have the information. Now we have more challenges than we had during the time of the atomic bomb, because America had only two of them and they dropped both of them. So there was no more atomic bomb that would have been dropped at that time. But in this particular time, the wind can be continuous. This wind can, there's so much bad things that can continually keep happening. So that's how I feel. I feel as though we have a lot of responsibility, but we also have a lot of opportunities. A lot of people, unfortunately, are not going to survive this wind. This wind is only going to benefit those who are going to be prepared for it. And this is not to be sadist. I'm just telling you the honest truth. That's what Chef Kabui tried to focus on. I'm not emotional. I don't preach to people. I'm just telling you the truth. COVID has killed over several million people have already, depending on what numbers we want to. I can talk about Kenya, I can talk about North Carolina, but a lot of people have died. The true reality is that those people, some studies have shown that those people who were having underlying issues, were having health issues, mostly related to the or stemming from poor diet, had 10 times greater risk of dying or getting sick because of COVID. So here we are. How do we prepare for the wind? I see a lot of great possibilities. A lot of companies are getting on board with food equity, social equity. A lot of foods are becoming more popular. More people are asking more about diverse food. More people are asking questions about organic food. We are realizing the limits of the things that we had so much trust in. That the American dollar or the American power. The pandemic or this wind that we are facing, is not a respecter of any military or economic or racial power hierarchy. It doesn't matter whether you're Aryan. It doesn't matter whether you're a white Southerner. It didn't matter during the days of civil rights movement. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter whether you're educated. If your diet is bad, if you're not in the right spot, you are at much greater risk. I didn't say all of us, the people who eat well, are not at risk. We are not only talking about minimizing risk, and we know, people who are investors know that everything has a risk. All you can do is minimize the risk. It doesn't mean I won't die because I eat all organic food or anything like that. But we're just trying to say this is the wind. If I were to name it, the wind of responsibility. We can push the buck can't stop at anybody else. The buck stops at us more than anything else. That's what I feel.
Wow, that's the wind. Yes, and we've experienced over the last 12 months. Just a change of how we need to do things, especially you being on the culinary and the agriculture side. What kind of recommendations do you have for chefs that are still not thinking about forward leaning and re-strategizing and, really have not accepted that things won't go back to where they were?
The message I have for them is that the time for the warning is gone. I don't have anything to say for you. Now, you choose a win. That's your win. That's all I can do is make a comment. You choose to eat bad. That's a win that you get. That's a win that you get. This is a time of vindication. So if you believe and if you act and if you take responsibility, the time of inspiration is over. My brother chef, the time is over. Chefs have been doing a terrible job of cooking bad food. We are liable for some of the bad diet in here. By the way, chef, have you ever heard about this concept of pouring rights? Have you heard about that concept?
No.
Okay, so the companies, food companies, especially beverage companies, used to go to schools, and they still do. I mean, some of the schools are closed, but for a while, food companies will go to district schools and say, we'll give you some money. Typically used to be up to $14 a student. So if you have a million students, then you get $14 million. The companies, these beverage companies will donate $14 million over a number of years if you give them exclusive rights to sell their beverage and exclude everybody else of their competition. So that's slaughter there, man. So once they get in that arrangement, what they are doing, they are marketing their beverages to the children, and the children will only mainly know their beverages. So this is a time whereby we are having our own pouring rights. So you're choosing your pouring right. So you choose what right or the right to pour whatever you want to pour. You want to pour health, then you have the rights for pouring health into yourself. If you choose bad food, then you're buying your own right, and you're paying for it, for your own right to suffer at your own hands. The time of inspiration is gone. Right. It's gone. It's over, man. Well, I can tell you, I can't tell you I wish you well, because I'd be lying to you, Or I can tell you, hey, if you think that's good, man, deal with it. Right.
Yeah, we've hit a wall of reality, and some people still are trying to grip with the reality, or they're not reading the writing on the wall. I want to also mention to our audience that you have a very inspiring essay in the Mindful Eating Beloved Community book of essays that we curated some years ago. Everyone can go to loveisfood.org and definitely look at getting the book and reading Chef Kabui's chapter essay, which was very, very inspiring. What I want to close with is exactly that, around Mindful Eating Beloved Community, around what your secret sauce is for people to get from today to tomorrow. You've really kind of made some strong hints of suggestions, but what is the secret sauce? How do we come together understanding this framework of mindful eating for the beloved community? Because that's a very powerful framework. It's starting to, as you know, our international fellowship kicks off next week, and you have 2 aspiring mentees that were selected and awarded for that fellowship. But to put it in context, how do you frame what the blueprint needs to be, the mindful eating beloved community construct, and that secret sauce that you can, kind of give to people to have them reflect on.
Great. Number one, again, thank you very much for the creating two fellowships in my honor. That's very good. I'm very excited, and to have two African chefs also, very a brilliant lady and a brother to participate. I'm very excited about that. If I were to choose one word, I'll just say Spartacus. Spartacus is a very well known, the most known slave general in Rome. He was a gladiator. He was involved in that space. And during his height of his performance, he got accused of something he didn't know, he hadn't done, and he knew he was about to be killed. So he ran away, and some people joined him, and so he became a really big rebellion. But something that Spartacus is known for, and has made Spartacus very, very popular amongst people we know, like Karl Marx and stuff like that. And he said, actually, he's the one who influenced Karl Marx in the writing of the Communist Manifesto. That's why it started the way it starts. But the history of all nations is the history of class struggle. So you talk about issues of justice, that's the first thing that comes to mind. So, but why did Spartacus become so influential to some of these big thinkers? It's because of, at least in my views, because of one thing. When the fight for justice became so hot and it was about to hit the ceiling, it was like, nah, this is the end, man. We're either fighting for death or life, man. This is it. It was like a showdown. Spartacus got off his horse. He was the general. He was in the horse. He got off the horse. He killed his horse because what? He wanted to be like everybody else. And he said, now we fight, we win or we die. That's the message that I have for us. We have to be like Spartacus. All of us, if we have privilege, we have a skin in the game. We have to fight from those people who have privilege in order to make it better. They say to those whom much is given, much now is demanded. For those who haven't have, we have equal responsibility. If all I've had is privilege, I don't know how it is to suffer. So if you're just kind of hinting, try to pretend, thinking that you have to work twice as much so that you can be like me, and I don't know, it's not my fault, it's your fault. You need to tell me I can't breathe. And if I can't breathe, you don't have peace, because I'm not willing to just keep telling you, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. That will come to an end. I'll get off my horse, I'll kill that horse, and I'll stand either to live or to die. So that is the time that we Spartacus. That's the one word.
Whoa, my brother, that's the note to end. And if that's not stirring the pot, I don't know what is. Chef Kabui, thank you so much for participating in this special episode. That you're our first African chef that's on Stirring the Pot, and obviously you're bringing a really strong narrative to the conversation around food, race, and social justice. Can you tell everyone in our audience how they can support your work?
You can support my work by visiting chefkabui.com. That's where I have my website. I have information about the work that I'm doing in Kenya, which is the part that I'm steering right now of getting this Food Sustainability Center up and running. And we'll be looking for residents. We're looking for chefs, artists, and writers to go spend time at the center, conduct workshops, or just use the center. And we are building a library and international kitchen to share any sustainable knowledge or wisdom you have that you'll be willing to share with our people. And we're also willing to share with you what we know.
That's it, shared knowledge. Well, thanks again, Chef Kabui. This has been an awesome episode of Stirring the Pot, BCA Global's conversation around food, race, and social justice. I hope everyone will tune in for our next episode that's coming up soon. But wasn't this a delightful, knowledgeable, and let me tell you, Chef Kabui is a force to be reckoned with. Chef Kabui, thank you so much again. We're looking forward to continuing to work. This is Chef Alex Askew, President, BCA Global, and we're going to continue to stir the pot into the future. And everyone be safe and well, and stay tuned for our upcoming episodes. Take care for now.